Hey everybody and welcome back. Today I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about the significance of Gordan Ryan signing with ONE FC. So for those of you who haven't heard, Gordan Ryan is signing a contract with ONE FC that allows him to participate in both submission grappling and MMA. And when I heard this, I immediately reverted back to an interview that I heard a while ago with John Danaher. Maybe a year, maybe less, maybe more. I'm real hazy on the timeline, man. I'm terrible with time. But in the interview, John Danaher was saying, I hope that Gordan Ryan does not participate in MMA because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is at such a pivotal point right now, right? Like it could go either way. And when you have a star like Gordan Ryan, he has tremendous potential to grow the sport astronomically, right? It was something along those lines, and I was like, wow, I had never thought about that. Like the fact that Gordan Ryan left Jiu-Jitsu would almost be a tragedy of some kind, right? But then when the details, and by the way, very high-level details, like all you know is that Gordan Ryan signed a contract for grappling and MMA. When the details regarding this came out, I started thinking, well, maybe this will be good for Jiu-Jitsu because you got to think that on the whole, MMA is much more popular than Jiu-Jitsu, right? Like as a spectator, like people tune in to watch MMA much more than they tune in to watch Jiu-Jitsu. But when you have somebody like Gordan Ryan and he's achieved the level of success that he has, people are inevitably going to start asking, well, yes, he's able to do that in a submission grappling tournament, but is he going to be able to pull it off in a real fight, quote unquote, right? MMA, like where there's everything allowed. Like, is he going to be able to do all that stuff off of his back while somebody's on top trying to punch him, etc., right? So these questions are going to come up and people are going to want them answered. Now, you got to think too that Gordan Ryan he's a bigger guy. Like I'm guessing that when he competes in MMA, he's going to compete at middleweight, probably 185 pounds, I would guess, right? So that's important because generally bigger guys are just more popular, man. Like there's no getting around it. Like there are exceptions to the rule, but on the whole, I think if you're a bigger guy, you tend to be a more popular fighter. I just think of how it works. I don't think that a lot of lower weight classes get the respect that they deserve, but fuck, man, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I think that's an important aspect of this. Another important aspect is that Gordan Ryan is probably the most famous star to ever transition from the jiu-jitsu scene to the MMA scene, right? And this is going to be a big deal for two reasons. One, the people who are hardcore jiu-jitsu fans are going to bleed over and start watching Gordan Ryan compete in MMA because they're going to come over to they're going to want to see how he does, right? So you might gain a few MMA fans. And two, this is going to work in the reverse effect and maybe even more so in favor of jiu-jitsu because I think, like I said, MMA, starting from the baseline we have now, is much more popular than jiu-jitsu. So people are going to start tuning into ONE FC cards, seeing this Gordan Ryan guy fighting and tapping people the fuck out, and they're going to go, oh, Gordan Ryan's on another card coming up? What's that? Oh, it's a submission grappling tournament? Like, oh, I'm going to tune in and watch this guy. I think they just naturally start doing that, right? So you got people who normally watch MMA, now all of a sudden they're tuning into ONE FC to watch Gordan Ryan grapple. And now that's how the sport is really going to start taking off. By participating in MMA and then participating in submission grappling under the same banner, I really think Gordan Ryan has potential to pull. He has potential to pull folks over from the BJJ side, and he has potential to pull MMA fans into the jiu-jitsu side, right? So he can pull jiu-jitsu fans into MMA and MMA fans into jiu-jitsu. Like I think it has real potential to work that way. And, you know, you've had guys like Gary Tonin, obviously, most recently, right? And then like Robert Drysdale, like big names in sport jiu-jitsu have transitioned into MMA and found success. But just nobody with the star power and probably nobody greater than Gordan Ryan. I mean, the guy has like over 150 matches, has won like 143 and lost 9 or some shit. It's something along those lines. Like he's won ADCC, IBJJF, EBI. Like he's kind of won everything that you can win in submission grappling. And, you know, it's going to be a big deal for him to step into the MMA scene. And another thing, and it reminds me of Henry Cejudo. When you get somebody like Henry Cejudo, who was an Olympic gold medalist in freestyle wrestling, right? When you get somebody with that mentality, I feel like they're able to learn MMA at an accelerated rate because of their mindset. And I feel the same way about Gordan Ryan. I feel like he's going to be able to learn MMA and commit himself to it at a world championship level. And having already done that on the jiu-jitsu scene is going to help him transition over to the MMA side. If that guy can apply the same technical, like, if he can just have the same work ethic that he had with jiu-jitsu to the stand-up, he's going to be very, very dangerous. And obviously submission, like taking guys to the ground, tapping them out, is always going to be his wheelhouse. But if he can get decent on the feet, man, he's going to be even more dangerous. And I think he's going to as time progresses. But also just, if you ever watch a fucking John Danaher video on YouTube, you'll watch like a 13-minute video, and like once every 30 seconds, you're like, oh, fuck, that makes so much sense. Like, oh, fuck, that makes so much sense. So when you have a guy, too, who's going to come in and approach things, and he has the guys around him, coaches around him, who are going to approach things from a very scientific angle, it's going to be interesting to see the new wrinkles that they can add into the MMA game. There's a lot going on here. I think that guys like Gordan Ryan and Gary Tonin coming over and participating in MMA are going to force people to find new ways to deal with this level of jiu-jitsu, right? And that reason right there is why MMA constantly evolves. I think we can cut it with that, guys. Let me know what you think of the signing down in the comments. I thought it was a great, like I said, I think this is a big deal, not only for MMA, and like I said, people are just going to have to find a way to deal with people like Gordan Ryan, and that's going to change the game in MMA a little bit. You get these high-level grapplers coming in, right? More and more people doing jiu-jitsu, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot going on here, but I really feel that the Gordan Ryan signing is going to be important for both MMA and the jiu-jitsu community. I think the jiu-jitsu community grows as a result of it and becomes more popular, both in terms of people who participate and who watch. And yeah, I think some new wrinkles get added into MMA because of these high-level grapplers coming over. But let me know what you guys think. I'll end this here, and I will catch you later. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.